the session. So today's session is like more of like web scraping with Python. So I'll also explain I'll give a recap of yesterday's session and then we can walk you through the code. So let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. So from yesterday, we are talking about web scraping. So web scraping is nothing but it is a software technique which we use for extracting information from the website. So we have a lot of unstructured data. In the real-time data, you have the data is very raw and unstructured. So to get that unstructured data and transform the data and make it into a structured one, the whole process we are using something called as a web scraping, and the language or the tool which we are using is like Python here. So it focuses on transformation of unstructured data on the web. Typically, it may be like HTML. So mostly in terms of HTML only into a structured data that you can again further you can store or you can do some visuals or you can do further analysis from the structured data. Like once if you get the structured data, then you can do lot of ways, you have a lot of ways to get analysis out of it. So getting into a structured format is something difficult that we are learning here, that is web scraping. So this is again a overall view how we are getting. So let's say first you are collecting the URL. So first you are going to fetch the URL or fetch that website ID, and then you are getting this URLs, and from there you are trying to see the HTML document, and then you are trying to extract the document. So let's say here you have a website. From the website you are taking the direct page of website, and from that you are taking all the HTML document and converting that HTML document into a understandable, desirable, a structured format, and then you're transforming and you're manipulating. And let's also understand how we are extracting and how we are transforming and how we are making the structure and how we are storing. So So let's see again, why we use web scraping. Just I'll give you like a 2 minutes glimpse. Because in today's data, we are generating a lot of tons of data. So that is in a different format. Let's say it is in terms of um in market domain or finance domain. In different domains, we are getting a lot of data. So we are trying to extract the unstructured data. So that's an important key to analyze the data into a tabular form. So here also you have there are a lot of issues in web scraping also, you should get the correct URL, and sometimes you might get challenges in the HTTP errors, and and sometimes you will not have the API access. So these are the after overcoming all these issues only, then you can scrape and then you can get the data. So let me also, so yesterday I also walked you through what are the uses of the web scraping, and how we are pros and cons of it. And then I also said the workflow, and this is the libraries, typical libraries which we are using. So we have something four or five different types of libraries. So mostly we are using in Python. So why Python is because the Python is an open source tool which we have, and nowadays most of the companies are using Python rapidly. So Python is getting, so that's why mostly we are using in terms of Python. So, and it is also a very easy to understand. So if you don't understand other coding languages also, it is like a independent language, and it is easy for us to understand the Python, and then you can learn. Then you can extract and then transform into a CSV or JSON format, which is a readable format. Let's say if you want to save that database in terms of CSV, or if you want in terms of Excel, you can do it in XML or XLSX. So these are the typical text files or text documents where you can store it into that document. So here the libraries are beautiful. So we call it the library which we are using to import is DS4. This is especially in terms of Python, we are saying like BS4. So LXML, you have Selenium and RE. RE, just yesterday I explained you. It is like a regex function and scraping. So these are the 5 types of libraries. Let's understand like how we are using the beautiful. So this is a code. So let's say from the yesterday's example, let's understand. So here I have a website. So in this website, let's say this URL is like, so this is the URL of this particular page. So I'm saying the list of largest companies in USA by revenue. So this page is telling me more of which are the largest companies which are present in USA. So here we have a different types. Let's say in terms of revenue, they have divided into like 100 companies by revenue in 2023. And we're also seeing like we have like 500 top 500 companies, and you also have the companies by profit. So let's say what is the profit of this particular company and what industry, like what sector it belongs to. So like that, we have a different sectors. Like you have the large private companies. Let's say in India, you have Reliance. So similarly, like what are the largest private companies which are in like in USA? This is like 2022 data. This is 23 data. So again, this is something 23 data. So here you can understand like we have different sectors of data with different years also. So let's say your problem statement, or like you want to get a particular data out of all. I want to get a list of companies by profit. Let's say this is 23. I don't want only 10. I want more. Like, let's say I want to compare from this 100, I want to get more information. So then what I'll do, so first, like, the process, how will start is in between, like, if you have any audio issues or if you have any doubts, like, you can ask me here. Okay. So, if you have doubts, like if some topic is missing or if it is fast also, you can just ping me. I'll repeat those topic again. So, people who are not familiar with Python, so here we are using with Python. So in Python, we are trying to save, like this is the PyNB, like Python notebooks. So I'm using a Google Colab to explain you. So let's understand in Python. So here we are saying like the components of web scraping with Python code is like you have a different components. Let's say first I'm saying like you should get the HTML, then parse the HTML into Python object. So here I have a workflow. I'll explain with this. So first you need to get the website. That is nothing but you should get the, it's by using the HTTP library, you should get the HTML. So then parsing the HTML into a Python object. So you are converting this HTML document into a Python readable format. And then you are saying like you are saving the whole data into CSV or JSON or like whichever the format you want. Let's say you want something in DB, you can save in terms of .db of particular according to your problem statement. So I want something in a text file. Let's say I want to convert this into a PDF, or let's say I want to convert into a document. So what can I do? Like I'll try to store the results in terms of PDF. So this is the first thing is like getting the website. So here what I did is like just now I chose one website. So I'm saying like I want this particular website. Then now parsing effect, like how I'm doing, how I'm transforming basically. So in the most of cases, there is no need to use the website to get the HTML. So like let's say, that's what like sometimes I'm saying like if I can get the direct URL, or sometimes I should go into this inspect and then I should go to a particular code elements or like particular header or particular class, then only I can understand. Let's say I don't want into full, like here we have only limited data, so that's why I'm taking a direct file. Suppose let's say I'm using a, let me show you. This is a direct website. In this, I have lot of things. So let's say I'm having here, there are different subsets. You can also see here, this is in terms of Python. This is explaining me a supermarket one. So this is explaining me a Flask one. So I have here different things. So then how we are going into a different pattern, and like if I have a direct link, how I'm going. So here, this is a direct URL I can convert. So here it is like you should understand like which URL you have to use. So first let's go with the basic thing. We have the URL and then we have the HTML code, and here we are converting. So first things are like here we are using the libraries like request and beautiful soup. So here I'm saying request. Request is nothing but, so if you want to get the URL, so you are trying to request this page to get the URL. So this is one of the library which we generally use in Python. So let's say if I directly want to import, I can't import. First, like if somebody is doing, then they have to do installations in terms of pip. Pip is nothing but a Python packages. Like if you want to install any Python packages, you use pip. So you are saying like pip install request, so that you can import the request. So pip install BS4. BS4 is nothing but I'm saying beautiful soup. So this is like a, so now we are using this library to extract, right? Okay. Now first thing is like we need the installation. The installation by the request and beautiful soap is done. Now what? Importing the libraries. So the second step is like you are trying to import the libraries, and here, so while importing, now I'm saying like from BS4, import beautiful soup. So now I have installed and I am now importing. So similarly, request also I'm trying to import. So after this, when I'm writing the code, like I should have a URL. So this URL I'm using from this particular page. So this is the URL. So you can directly copy this URL and then you can paste here. So this one I have pasted, and then for which particular page you want. Let's say you have different pages. So you can also give like I want from this particular page to this particular page. Or here we have only one page. So I'm directly taking page request dot get URL. So you are trying to get the pages from this particular URL, and then you are using this particular beautiful soup and getting the HTML document. So now if I print this, you will get this particular piece of code. So this is nothing but the HTML code. So like whichever the code you are seeing here. So this is the whole code of HTML. This is present for this particular page. Now I'm trying to get the whole code here. So this is the step one, like step two almost, was getting the URL and getting the HTML. So now I got the HTML total code. So that means I gave the request for this particular page, and from this URL, I got all the HTML code here. So you can see. So this is the whole thing from this one. Now let me try to close. And now here in the next step, let's say I want a particular table. Let's say here I have three tables, right? I want to divide this three tables into like different names. So I don't want to merge three different like three tables. So let me uh name it as a 3 different table. So let's say here table. Here you have a heading, like the headers, and you also have tables as a different segment. So you can see, if I click the table, so it will choose me all the tables, like whichever the table data which is present, it will take me through those tables only. So here what I did is like, I'm trying to find tables separately. So now what I did is like, I'm trying to do the soup. So here, if I run this one, now I got, okay, one second. Okay, so if I take the separate table, it is giving me information of whole table here. And then now I want to get not only one table, I want to get the table of all. Now all matlab here you have 3 different tables. I want to get information of 3 different tables. So let's say this is one of the table. Here you can see this is the headings of one table. Rank, name, industry, revenue growth, employees, headquarters. Rank, name, industry, revenue. So this is one table which I've extracted. This is table one, which is like TH is like a table one, let's see. And TD is nothing but the different table. So here also you have, so you can see the next headings for the table. So TD is the next table. And again, you also have TR, TD, and TS. So here you can see the retail. So the next one is, so rank, name, industry, revenue, headquarters. Here also you have rank, name, industry, headquarters, and in that separately you have telecommunications, retail sectors, and you have the different elements here. So here you have 3 different tables in this, TD, TR, and TS. Let me close this. Okay, so now you have taken the whole HTML document, and then separately also we want to understand the tables. So that's why I also taken separately tables here. So you have all the tables here. And now I want to separate those classes also according to. So now what happens? So here I'm trying to find in which table I have the class of wiki table sorted. So like out of 3 classes, I'm trying to find only this particular heading. So I'll get only that particular heading of the data. So this is just for like analysis, ignore it. And here I'm trying to print the table 1, table 2 accordingly. Let's say, so table 1, I gave the name. So it will give me this. Table 2 separated. Table 3 separated. So like that, I can separate the table 1, table 2, table 3. And then now I'm trying to give the headings. Let's say here you have the headings of TH, TR, and TS. So I want to name those tables. So if I want to name those tables, what I'll do, I'll give like world titles. So I'm trying to find from this table, the TH will become like world titles. Give the world titles name for TH. And then if I look into that world titles, I got something like rank, name, industry, revenue, revenue growth. So let me see this. TH is nothing but you have rank, name, industry, revenue, employees, and headquarters. Headquarters, yeah. So now this is like TH. TH is the second table. TS is the first table. TR is the like the next table. So in this way, I have taken the TH table. So now I'm only concentrating on world titles. So I will go with only this table. So now I'm saying like extract the table titles. So table titles, it is saying like rank, name, industries. These are the headers. So now what I did, I separated all these headers and then I want to convert. Let's say here I have rank, name, industry, revenue tables. Here I also have the details of different segments: name, rank, revenue, growth, and headquarters. So I want to match from this whole data. So I want to get the data of from the different tables also. So now what I'll do, I'll just extract the tables and now I'll try to get rank of all the tables. Like let's say I want only name from all the tables. So what it will give me, name of all these things. And if I get the name, you can also get this and you can also get this. So first thing is like I'm making the unstructured to structured. So just separating the title so that I can directly keep into a tabular format. So first thing is like till here, everything is in terms of converting the HTML, the transformation of HTML document itself. If somebody is not understanding, yeah, you can ping me in the chat box. I can explain you that particular topic. So this is like a HTML and now converting that HTML into a structured format. So if you are aware of Python, so the common library which we use in Python is like pandas. So pandas, NumPy are the most important libraries which we frequently use in the Python. So let's also understand any doubts? Okay, let me explain the Python libraries once again. So just now we discussed about the request. Request library is mostly used to get the HTML files and to pass on the library. Like let's say you want to get the get the URL, like you want to get from some information from the URL, you are using the request library. So and you are using Beautiful Soup. It is mostly used to convert the raw HTML document into a Python object. So this whole process is called parsing. So whichever the process which I've started from this step is like we have all the HTML and then we are converting into a Python one. This process is called parsing. So here the library which we used is nothing but a Beautiful Soup. And then now we are converting into a CSV library. So CSV library we are using for a storing of the data, storing of the structured format of data. You can say because if I want to do further steps, further EDA or further modeling, you want the data in a tabular form or like Excel format. So CSV is also like one of the Excel format. So if I want in that particular table, I'm converting this HTML into a CSV one. So CSV is a part of a standard library installation. So, and you can directly do it with the pandas. Like you can use the import pandas as PD and then you can start. Again, here, like while installing the request or Beautiful Soup, depending on your OS and your settings, like you have to install. Like let's say if you're using in terms of Python Jupyter Notebook. So if your Python has like it is not updated version, you have to check the whether it is working with pip or pip3. So here you have, according to your version of Python, you should install based on like you can use either pip or pip3. So for my installation, like I used pip3. Any doubts in between? Like I'll go to the next steps. So if you have, you can ping me in the chat box. ping me, or like you can unmute and you can tell me. Okay. I can move to, I hope like everybody are understanding, and like I'll move to the next step. Before that, again, I'll try to explain like what is beautiful soap. So here, why I use beautiful soap is because it is a simpler method and it is easy for the conversion of your HTML to your Python code. And here you can also use the next step, you can also use LXML, which is also a most commonly used library for the separate, like you have to install it again. Let's say here I have installed BS4, so that is giving me only beautiful soap. If I want the another library, let's say I want something like LXML, so I have to install, like I have to separately import this. So I have to separately install this and then only I can import. So from BS4 only I can import beautiful soap. So that's where like for the different library, you have the different installation. Just like pip install LXML, then you can directly get those library. So the next thing would be, you got the tables, you got the headings, and then you are converting those headings. BS4 means it's a beautiful soap. Beautiful soup is a library which we are using now for this code. So for the web scraping, you have different libraries. So the libraries, this is nothing but like for the installation, you use this BS4. So for the other installation, you use Excel, LXML. So let's say if I'm trying to install this, I use like pip install LXML or pip3 install according to my computer version. Okay, so go to this step. So now what I'm doing is like now I'm exporting the data. So the data can be easily exported to CSV file using the CSV library. So here the Python we are using as a pandas. So the first step is to get the in like let's say importing the libraries. Here also libraries. So let's say if you have something like arrays, then you can use NumPy. But here I think pandas is enough for the data frames. So I'm using only pandas. From the pandas, I'll get like data frame. So what is data frame? For the persons who don't know, like let me get you. Also, let's say if I have something in terms of a tabular, like tabular form, you have rows and columns, you have headings, and then you can understand how many rows and columns are present. So the structured format of the data in terms of table, in Python, you are calling it as a data frame. So let's say here you have a raw data. So here the data is in uh, the URL format. Just now you saw this is the data, this is the random raw data. Now I'm converting into a table form. So that table here I can take it as a data frame. Okay. So the data frames here you have like I'm saying the columns name should be like world table titles. So world table titles is nothing but just now the titles which I have separated. which things I've separated from the whole table, like from whole URL. I have separated the first tables, table 1, table 2, table 3. So from the all the tables, I'm trying to get only this columns, like only this titles, rank, name, industry, revenue, revenue growth, and employees and headquarters. So these are the titles which I want. So now from the data frame, I'm trying to see the columns of world table titles. So now I'm getting, so here you can see this is in terms of list format. So list is nothing but you are having a string format of words. So here you are having a tabular format of words, like tabular format of columns and rows. So the rank and the name, everything in terms of columns. And now you should get those rows. Getting the rows is nothing but whichever the data which we are present in the HTML document, I'm trying to convert into a CSV. This is the column data which we have. And let me also show you, this is the column table. I wrote a piece of code to get this table. This is the table which I've extracted here. You have headquarters, employees, revenue growth, 100 rows, 7 columns. You have 100 companies. That means you have something like, there is a number, 100 rows I have, and how many columns I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have the table is completely, now we are converting into a CSV form. So now you can directly say, okay, this is just a table. I can directly save this picture and I can directly convert into text. Okay, so let's say if it is in terms of direct table, you can do it. But if it is in terms of text, how you are converting that HTML into a code? And let's say if you have a single image, you can do in a direct way. But when it comes to a real-time data, you have to extract like all the number of whole details, whole rows and columns, and the in-depth analysis you have to do in terms of real-time data when you're working on Python. So for the easy understand, like easy flow, you are scraping the data and converting into a CSV format. So let's say, so this is like when you wrote just a piece of 10 lines of codes and that is done. So instead of just doing a direct manual work, you can just automate and then you can do it. Now I got the 100 rows into 7 columns, whichever the table is present there. And now I'm what doing, like I'm trying to save the document into a CSV format to my local disk. So this is saved to my Excel sheet. So now if I open directly save the, if I open the sheet, now my Excel will have all the 100 rows and 7 columns. So directly I have converted this just page of website into a Excel format. So this is the simple explanation of how I'm converting the HTML to CSV format. So any understanding in the transformation phase. The step 2 is like I'm transforming, parsing the data. So if you have any doubts in that, like you can please use the chat box and you can tell me. I can explain you the topic again. So here, let me check, let me show you in terms of this URL page. In this URL page, like if you want to count the columns, so let's say it is a direct thing, you can directly count the columns here. Like here I have the list data and I'm saying like here I can see like there are only 7. Let's say here, if I go down, now I'm saying like you can, in the below, you can see like how many number of things. Let's say I'll show you here. In a tabular format, it is clearly indicating me that here the whole table has 100 rows and 7 columns. So if you directly see in terms of page, you have to do a manual work. So let's say instead of these 7 columns, if I have some 100 or some 98, 97 columns, then how can I count those columns? I cannot count manually. So then what I'll do, then I'll scrape the data and then I'll convert to a Excel sheet, or then I can convert into a CSV format, and then I can see like here you can directly filter like how many numbers you have. You will get the number of rows and columns, and you can also modify whichever the headings you want, and you can also do further filters. Let's say I want to see what is the highest growth rate, or like what is the highest amount, so I can filter this, I can do, and what percentage is going up, and from year to year how my revenue is developing. Let's say this is 2023 data. Now if I have 22 data, that is saying like this is like 572. Now I have like 572 million. Now in the next, like last year, it is like 450. So now I can see the growth rate. So from 450 and you are growing it to 572. So now I can calculate, okay, 572 minus 450. That is my profit of a year by year. So in that way, like I can do further analysis. I can also see which is the highest change, or what is the highest growth rate, what is the profit percentage. So like that I can do number of things. If I just see this page, I can't do those analysis. So for me, if I want analysis, I am converting into an Excel sheet. So now I clear with checking the rows and columns here. So like someone is asking me about the index. So let me tell you index. Index in terms of, like, I hope index you are asking in terms of Python. Uh, is it about Python, or like, can you give me that? One second. So let's say, I hope, I think you did not mention the pandas. So let me tell you how we are using index in terms of Python. Let's say now here I've converted everything into a CSV file, or like, let's say Excel format. So when you're doing a Excel format, so there should be a specific indication. So let's say I want to access the Apple. If I directly want to access, so if I uh, next in the next level, like if I'm doing the, like in my data frame, if I want to get, if I want to specify this element, how I can specify is like through the index. So index is the process where you can specify the element in a sequence. So let's say the sequence, let I have the 100, like 99th index. So usually index start from 0. So let's say if you have 100 rows, that means you are saying that you have 99 index. So let's say you have 10 rows, you are saying you have 9 index. So that in that way, like if I want to specify CHS, now I'm saying like I will directly go to my data frame and I'll say like I want to get the index of 96. And let's say this is also other thing. I want to get only the top 10. If I want to cut short, like if I want to filter the top 10, what I'll do, I'll say like I want the index 0 to 9, so that I'll get the only top 5, like top 10 elements. I want to ignore all these things. So then you usually use the index part. In terms of Python, mostly you use the index thing. Are you clear? Instead of drawing, I think you can directly mention in the chat box, right? So you can just ask me the doubts before me going to the next further steps. Okay, pandas. Yeah, I'll explain Siddharth. 1 second. I hope my screen is visible now. So in this, like I've divided into 3 steps. First, getting the HTML document, and then parsing step is nothing but you're transforming that HTML code into a Python like pandas. So pandas or like your Python code, which is understandable for the Python, and then you are converting into a tables. Then you are storing those tables and Excels into a different format. Let's say till here I've used beautiful soap and then converted the whole HTML into a table format. Let's say here I'm saying like mostly if I want to get in terms of tabular data, like tables or like rows and columns, if I want to get those data, I use a pandas library in the Python. So if I don't want in terms of table, you can use the different libraries. Like if you want in terms of visualization, you can use matplotlib or like Seaborn. Those are different libraries again. So here I want something in terms of table format. So I'm using the pandas library, and from the pandas, I'm saying like I'm trying to take a data frame. So I'm converting the whole raw data, this raw data, whole raw data into, let me show you. Okay, this raw data I'm converting into a this particular format. This whole HTML document you have in different text. Now this text is converted into a table by using the Python. So this Python is nothing but here I'm using pd.data frames, and in the data frames also like I'm naming my columns as world table titles. So here why I'm taking this world table titles is because here I have a list of columns with the different strings. You have a rank, name, industry, revenue. So this is the tabular columns. Let's say I want to extract this particular column, like this particular table. So for this, I have rank, name, industry, revenue, employees, headquarters. And if I want this one, I'll take only this columns. So here I have taken this columns instead of the second table. So I'm taking only that first table, and I've taken the columns like, see, here I want the first table. So if you want the second table, you can take a different titles, like you can take the different columns. So that's why I've taken the columns. And now I'm taking the columns, 7 columns, and I'm trying to extract the data for this particular columns. So here I'm using for loop and converting the column data from the row one. So from the row data, I'm trying to get the table data. So let's say column data and row data I have written in a separate lines. So row data, column data is nothing but here. You directly have this column names. So columns part is done. The row data is nothing but which I have to take from the table one, which is TD. And then I'm trying to extract the individual text documents, and then I'm trying to get in a vertical format, which everything the text is converted into a vertical format data. So you can see the data here, which are in terms of rows. So you have to extract rows separately, columns separately, and you are trying to attach whole data frame in Python. So like if you understand Python and if you understand the for loop concept, I think this will be easy for you. On a high level, I told you like how I'm getting the row data, how I'm getting the column data, and how I'm attaching, like how I'm getting the whole table. And here, this is like you are trying to download the data. Let's say download, or you are converting this whole data frame into Excel, like CSV. I can also convert CSV. Like if I say df dot to convert it to Excel, then it automatically convert into Excel, and you should give me like XLSX. So this is like a CSV format. That's why I've downloaded in CSV. If I want Excel, then I should give companies.xlsx. Then I'll get into. So here somebody is asking me like why index is false. So this is a common thing. Like if you are keeping false, then you can ignore this one, and then you can get whole. Like if I say index is true, then it will give me this line also. So here I have columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now in my CSV, it will show me a eighth column of index. So that's why I'm just trying to ignore. So just now I told you index is important, and why I'm ignoring, because index is important in a data frame, not in terms of Excel or your CSV file. So you can also keep it your index, that will not create any trouble. But if you are doing with a further analysis, you can just ignore or you can keep it. I hope I answered your question. Index is false. Are you clear, Siddharth? Okay, so this is the direct way of extracting the you from just a basic URL, basic table I have did. Now, if I want to get it from a different, let's say different URL, I'm giving a just random example for the person who is asking me. So here, the similar way, I'm taking from the like similar library, I'm using the beautiful soup, and I'm also using the request to get the URL, like to get the information from the URL to get the HTML document. And the URL which I'm using is here WordPress, which has lot of other things. Let's say I'm copying this and now I'm pasting here. In this, you have a different information. Let's say you have optimizing, you are doing APIs. So there's a lot of information. Just I don't have single information, I have lot. Then what I'll do, then the first step is like again same thing. Get the URL from the request. You are getting the URL, and then you got the HTML code right now. In the next step, what you are doing is like you are using the beautiful soup to convert the HTML code. So here I've taken the HTML, and now I'm trying to name, like first you need to give the titles because you can understand easily. So let's say here I have different segments. So I am giving the different titles. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, some random numbers. So I'll just try to name it as a title. So if I give the title, then I can directly go through that particular title, and then I can get I can easily fetch my data. So I gave the HTML tag which is present for this. So this HTML title is like, this is the title for one particular thing. So for this is href, where H reference for this header. So if I click that one, it is showing directly a web app introduction of login registration. That means web app, web app. So now I'm just focusing on this page. So if I want to get into this page, I'm using this HTML title of this href, H reference for this. So now I have taken the H reference of that particular title, and now I'm trying to print which is the, like, which title I want. So I have selected from the whole page, I have selected only one particular segment. From the segment, then what I'll do, now I'll get all the headers, then I'll do for the next. I'll get the rows, I'll get the columns, and then I can make the headers and rows and columns, and then I can scrape easily. Here, see here I'm trying to divide the div, class, and different segments. Let me explain you. Here I'm opening the HTML page. So this is the title, H reference. Then after the head, you have div, and then you have the class. Class is like comments you have post content, and you have featured media, the article details, and everything. Now I'm converting all these details, like I'm converting how to run the information, and I'm converting this snippet, like the pictures also, like I'm trying to make it make it that HTML to this links. So you have different things here. Now I'm writing a piece of code where my piece of code is dividing the each element into a different segments, and then that makes me easy to script. So here it is divided into tags, a background, chronology, Europe, Asia, and the in details, the next step. So this is the first one. Let me also show you here. So 1 second. This program. Okay, so here they gave me app link. If I go to this particular page, so this overall things are simplifying here. You can see here. I have the different tags of what is happening in that particular page. All information about the table. And now this is how we are dividing from the whole page. You can specify any particular segment. Let's say now I have taken this one with the title. So if you don't want this, you can also take the face detection. You have to give that particular header name so that it will take you to this one. And in this again further, I can divide into a different comments, header, footer, and like footer. You can divide into a rows and columns into the next. Like so uh, this is the basic one where I told you like I just have direct URL. And then the next step is like I'm saying like I have a page of, let's say somebody said me it is a career page. So in the career page, I have different segments. So different healthcare, different business, marketing, everything. Now I'll go to that healthcare only. Then I'll say, okay, for I'm giving this particular header in my HTML code so that it will take me to this page only. Then I'm trying to, let's say, I want few things, few content is required and few I don't want. So while doing the segmentation here, so let's say here I'm trying to divide into segments. So while I'm segmenting, then I'm trying to get only I want this content and I don't want this footer one, which is like a more details, contact us and all those things. I don't want that. So I can skip those and I can get only the required information. So then I can make into a tabular form. So that is a when you're doing in terms of a career page. Let me also show you a different one. So here by Beautiful Soap, you can also compare. Let's say this is a just random example I've taken. I want to compare a price of a particular product. Let's say I have taken a chair or table from different websites, or else any electronic TV. Let me say any TV. I have purchased TV. I want to see the product details. So first I have chosen that particular product, and I'm saying that I want to check in terms of Flipkart. I want to check in terms of eBay. I want to check in Chroma, Amazon. So here what I'm doing, like I'm trying to extract the details from different websites also. So not only from website, one website. So here you can also use a beautiful soap and the web browser. Here you can same again. In the request, you are trying to get the URL of Flipkart and you are using this particular URL link and you are getting the all the HTML code from the request library, and then you are using the beautiful soap and you are converting the HTML code into a data format. Next, I'm also trying to compare from eBay. I'm also trying to compare from Chroma. Chroma also same. So here I have taken Chroma link. So you have to choose the URL. So let's say URL is from Chroma, then you can get the data from Chroma itself. So again, if it is like Amazon, I'll use the Amazon web link and then I can get here itself. So while doing this process also, let's say if the product has some restriction for that particular page, I want to access those URLs of Amazon. Let's say I want to take this Amazon. Now what I'll do, I'll try to write the piece of code and I'll say, okay, I got this URL. I am using the beautiful soup and then I want to get the HTML code. Sometimes the HTTP blocker. So just now I told you, you have few blockers for any URL. So if it blocks, you can't do anything. So there are so many restrictions. They want to hide those products. So in that way, I can't do anything. Just I'll ignore. For my problem statement, I'll ignore right now, and then I'll move to the different things and I'll try to compare. So what are the elements present for that particular product and which are the useful content you have for that product and which are like pros. Let's say here I've extracted all the reviews. You have positive, negative reviews. So now what I'll do in the Flipkart, how many positive reviews I have? Like whether it is in terms of delivery, like if in the further analysis, if I get to know that you have so many negative issues in terms of delivery or delivery agent and time taking, all these things, then I can switch to a different website, like a different platform, right? So that's where sometimes if you want to compare all these things also, you can do the web scraping and you can get it. So this is like a comparison of different URLs with same beautiful soap. So I just gave you a glimpse of all the scraping things and I'll go to the PPT one. So first getting the HTTP URL and parsing HTML document and you are getting the result and you are trying to store in the CSV format. So let me also show you. So just now I am frequently using this beautiful soap. And suppose let's say I want to use this library LXML. Then what I'll do instead of beautiful soap, I'll try to use lxml.html from which string HTML string. So instead of beautiful soap opening bracket, I'll use LXML. So let's say if I want a different library, I don't have a big like I don't have large number of content. I just want a simple from a piece of code I want. Then I'll do regex. In the regex also you have you are using RE. RE is for the regex find all and you're using the title, HTML code and everything. So this is a piece of code which you can use for the regex. So again, this is the fetching data. Just now we did like importing the request data is equals to request dot get which URL you are using, HTML data content. Parsing libraries, just now we use like request, URL libraries, HTML libraries. You have different libraries also. This is a beautiful pros and cons and LXML pros and cons. Let me show you the code. So if you see here, when I'm trying to import itself, I'm trying to import RE, regex, time. Just I want to see like what is the time taking process, and then URL library and BS4. It is nothing but beautiful. So and LXML. LXML is another library. So you can also, you are trying to define the function, and the function you are trying to open, and you're giving the key arguments, and then you can see this. So this is for beautiful soap, you are saying BS. For LXML, you are saying LXML.text, and you are saying regressive. So this is the piece of code which I've given. I want to check which will be which is taking time. Like what is the time of three different libraries which I'm using. So the output also I'll show you. Here I got the output. So you can see, so here, like whichever the things I got, LXML took 32x more than the regressor. So this LXML time it is consuming, like it is more compared to this one. So beautiful soap took, so here, whichever the document I'm showing, I have taken only one piece of code, like small piece. So regex is taking me a lot more small time. Like it is doing very quick, because just it is just like removing all the unnecessary punctuations or unnecessary symbols. So that's why sometimes regex does, like it is faster than all these things. And BS, I can say like it is more flexible while doing a web scraping. So these are like when you're saying like regex expression, why when we are using, because it is always a fragile. So if it can handle only small amount of URLs or small amount of content only, it cannot handle the large amount. So it is really hard to maintain. That's why we are mostly using BS4. So these are the advantages and how we are also breaking the pages. And yesterday I've told you what are the challenges mostly we use. And the scraping is also a framework which we are using for web scraping. This is the last one. So here you can use XPath, like you should select particular elements, then only you can do the scraping. So this is also similar to your library scraping, like you have to import scraping, and then you have to do scraping dot, you have to take that HTML code. So this easily defines your model and stores the items. You can use in Spider mostly, like instead of Python, like instead of Jupyter Notebook, you have something called Spider also. Like if you create in Spider, Scrapy is very useful. Most like few companies work on Spider, so they can use Scrapy. And yeah, with this, like we can wind up the web scraping. Like if you have any doubts, like please let me know. Now we can go through the Q&As only. Yeah, we'll share you the code and PPTs. Guys, if you have any doubts, like you can Annapurna, you can share those links for the
Yes,
feedback
yes,
and
yes,
yeah,
yes. I'm sharing. I'm
certificates. Yeah.
sharing.
Guys, you can fill this feedback form, and then like you can get your certificate and you can mark your attendance. And please try to provide a feedback so that I can improve for my next sessions. And please go through our websites in LinkedIn or Instagram pages. You can get the notifications of whichever the workshop we are conducting in the next. So if you want to get this recordings, just go through the YouTube link. You will have all the videos of web scraping and data science and Excel, and we'll try to post more videos in terms of data science courses. You can visit our YouTube channel. Please let us know like if you are facing any issues with the links also. Yeah, you can get all the webinar videos in our YouTube channel. I think it get posted like.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I have mentioned the feedback form. Okay. So please fill the feedback form. So then only you will get the certificate. Okay. So the feedback was mandatory. So within 2 to 3 days, you will get the certificate through your email. Okay. So please fill the feedback form. I have mentioned the chat box. And also please follow our websites also. So you will get there all the updates. So what are the upcoming workshops and what are the paid courses, everything. Okay. So you will receive through email within 2 to 3 days. So the feedback was mandatory. Okay, for getting the attendance. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Visruja.
Thank you guys. Like if you have any questions, like we are open till 5 minutes and we can wrap up the session. Yeah, we'll try to share the notes and you can check our YouTube channel for the recordings.
Yeah, okay, Vishwaja. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, team.